Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Digital Success Hot Seat. As you know, these interviews are all about introducing business owners from all completely different walks of life and different industries to share their stories and their challenges and their wins in the online space. Because whether you like it or not, you might have started your business because you've got a passion for what you do, but that doesn't mean that you understand the online space, and it doesn't mean that you understand how to market yourself in this new digital area that we're finding ourselves. So the whole purpose of these interviews is to showcase people that have started a business with their passion and from there grown their business and promoted their business online. So I am really excited today to introduce Bek Spink, or Rebecca, but we call her Bek. Now, Bek and her husband Marty have a printing business. So I guess the first question is, Bek, tell us a little bit about your business and why you started.
Okay, so Marty's been a printer since he left school. So it's probably 15 years ago, he was made redundant. He was working for one of Queensland's business firms, and we just decided we wanted to take control of our destiny and be in control of our work hours and where we're heading, rather than being manipulated by bosses and systems. So yeah, we purchased a tiny wee little printing company off a couple who were retiring, and basically the rest is history.
Awesome. So you guys do obviously everything from the normal printing right the way through to car wrapping and things like that. Now, being a bricks and mortar business, obviously, you know, with everything being online, you've had to start promoting yourself and getting your business out there. So what are some of the challenges that you've found, having been a bricks and mortar business, getting yourself into the online space and promoting the business?
Yeah, probably about 2 years ago, I recognised that we weren't really growing our business. We were steadily growing from referrals and word of mouth and our repeat client. We have a really good repeat clientele base whom we look after. But I was concerned that we were sort of just sitting there waiting for something to come to us rather than us taking action. So, and my big thing is it's very hard in the digital space to find people who you trust and like, who are knowledgeable in all areas and know that that's where to spend your money. So one of my things was, or I've always done, is I think as a business owner, it's really powerful or important to know what you're doing, as in I made the actions and did some study, got involved firstly with LinkedIn actually. So decided to use LinkedIn as our, coupled with Facebook, but more so LinkedIn focused, and rolled it out across other platforms. But trying to get in front of decision makers who are in industries who print regularly and are the best point of contact to have conversations with. So, and
that makes sense doing LinkedIn because it is very much business to business.
Yeah, and we definitely are. Yeah, business to business. So, and you're able to, what I found on LinkedIn and the training that I got and what I immersed myself in was about 12 months of full on learning how to do things. I now have VAs that do everything for me. In that LinkedIn side, I don't have the time, but it was important that I know how to do it, because I think sometimes we can hand things over too early and we don't have the knowledge ourselves to be able to manage it as a business owner. And I think a lot of money there can be wasted. So for us on LinkedIn, it was about putting us in front of decision makers, people who print regularly, who are in those jobs that do organise the print marketing side of things, and regularly, and then be able to build relationships. And I think that's, for me, what I had to learn with social media. It's not about asking necessarily for work. It's an introduction and a relationship building platforms. So I start with an introduction, and then there's, you know, messages and connections and conversations back and forward, and it's scheduled, and there's a process that I follow so that it's not just straight out asking for something. And it's like turning up to a networking event and asking for business before you've shook somebody's hand and learnt about them and what their business does, and getting to know them as a person. Because for me, I like doing business with people I like and trust, and I think that has served us well in our business, because, you know, we end up with clients who value that principle.
And I think there's a couple of really good key things you've touched on there, and one of them is the fact of finding people to learn from that you know, like, and trust, because, and that's the whole reason I started this series, is because there are so many people out there that do a 6-week course, and all of a sudden they're an expert. They're going to teach you, you know, how to suddenly have 7 figures in the next 3 months, and it doesn't work that way. So that's so important, is finding the right people to work with and sticking to one thing first, so that when you do hand it over to a VA or an employee or whoever, you know what they're doing and you know why they're doing it too.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important to test and measure. So have some tracking on what works for your business. You know, I found myself, and I still do find myself, I don't consider myself a marketing person, and it's a real stretch for me to come up with things and content. I find it quite uncomfortable. But what I do find is, and what's been sort of drilled into me, is progress is better than perfection, and then test and measure. So if we've got messages go out, it goes out for like 2 to 3 months, and then you can see from figures whether something works or doesn't work. So whether there's a conversion and engagement rate, you know, all those sorts of things. So for us, I think, for me, that was really important, because I can sit there and procrastinate. It's not even procrastinate, because I can make decisions, but I just don't feel like it's my strong point. So, but what I've learned is I actually can do it. It just doesn't have to be perfect in my eyes. So it's putting something out there, being consistent, and testing and measuring.
And I've noticed too, especially with a lot of the posts that you put out, there are a few that are quite personal. Like you talk about your kids, and you talk about Marty, and even your dreams of what you wanted growing up. So how did you find that? I mean, that's always a big thing, showing up and being vulnerable and putting yourself out there. So how did you get to the stage where you were comfortable doing that? Or are you comfortable doing that? I suppose that's the first question.
I'm a pretty open book. Like I think I'm a pretty genuine person. So I wear my heart on my sleeve. I give to our clients and to everyone. You know, like, I tend to accumulate children and teenagers as well into our house who need a home and a safe place. It's just a natural progression of mine that I just, So I don't think I'm careful not to overshare really private things, but I think Marty and I's dream is important, and our family goals, because that reflects, it comes into our business. And if that's one thing that I've heard people, you know, comment on, or we feel the difference, like we feel you're genuine. And it's building
that relationship too.
Well, that's exactly where it comes back to. It's like, if you're not building a relationship, people aren't going to like and trust you and use you on a regular basis. So we have clients, and you're one of them, that was, you know, we used to print for you prior to you working for yourself. And, you know, and we have marketing managers or business owners who change businesses or go and work for somebody else, and they come and find us and bring their work to us, because I think being honest reflects in all parts of your life. If you're not genuine in your business life, you're not genuine in your personal life, they don't meet up. Like it doesn't work, I don't think. I think honesty is where it plays, and people can feel it and go from there.
Yeah. And like you said too, with the like comparing the networking, when it comes to showing up online, it pretty much is the same thing. You know, as networking, you know, you've introduced yourself and you share a little bit about who you are and what you do and how you can help people. But it is having those conversations and building the relationship. It's not just a drop and run.
Yeah, it's about taking it offline as soon as you can. Make that contact and then start a relationship that's offline, that's private and genuine, and finding out what your clients actually need. Like for us in printing, there's so many people that are out there that claim to be printers, but genuine printers with equipment who can control production from start to finish and can control quality, we're few and far between, you know, like so being able to ask those questions, understanding your clientele and what's important to them. So a lot of, you know, when we do events and tourism and look after those clients, we're highly stressed because they're organising something last minute. Sponsors are in and out. You know, timetables are changing. They're having to meet everyone's needs. We're unfortunately at the end of the chain. The event deadline does not change for us, but their deadline is often pushed back. So for them, it's about knowing having a supplier that can and will meet their need and be true to their word. So it's about understanding your clients and what their pain points are, what you know, makes them happy, and what makes it a stress-free experience for them and representing them proudly. And that's what we take that responsibility very seriously, because ultimately what we produce is representing your branding, and you only have one chance at a first impression. It takes about 7 seconds to make it, and if you don't make a good first impression, whether it be with your first point of contact, whether it be with your print material, whether it be with signage, whatever, then you could have lost that client for good.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
So translating that onto online, I mean, that's obviously where a lot of the personal posts come in, like sharing your values and what you stand for. And did you find it hard initially when you did? I mean, obviously you started with LinkedIn, which is probably not as personal as what Facebook is. But did you find that challenging, actually having to step into that role and start promoting yourself?
Yes and no. I suppose the hardest thing for me was, I don't know whether you've read my story on our business page or that I share on a regular basis, but it's how, you know, people often ask, how did I get into printing? And it's a running joke, oh, I married into it. It wasn't really my first choice, but sharing why I'm grateful for it is important, because I don't live and breathe printing. It's not my passion, and like it provides for our family and has given us opportunities to be able to be at home with my kids when I need to. You know, they're older now, so that's not as big an issue. But you know, it's been able to create a family that I'm proud of. You know, that I've been able to invest into. So that sharing isn't hard for me, because that means a lot to me. That's our number one priority, is our kids and our family as a family unit. So I didn't find that hard. It was more coming to the process of realizing what, you know, when people had asked, oh, how did you get into printing? It was a bit of a joke at the start, but yeah, turning it around and going, yeah, I am grateful for it, and being able to portray that online, that definitely wasn't difficult as such, because it's me, it's what I'm happy about. I'm proud.
And it is that personal connection. Yeah. So with everything you've done, so the getting out into the online space and getting out into social media, you said, is fairly new to you. You've been doing it for 2 years. What are 3 wins that you've had that you're really proud of? Like 3 things that you've gone, oh, I nailed that. That's so cool.
Yeah. Okay. Probably for me, there's a couple of client wins through LinkedIn that just would never have happened had I not gone down this path. And for us, the goal is repeat orders. And I think, so one of the clients we've gotten on board is Ingenia Holidays. So they have caravan parks all around Australia. So we actually print their product guides. We've done vouchers, flyers. We do all their, they do distributions and all sorts of stuff. So I've probably printed 5 jobs, including COVID. I probably only got them 9 months ago, and even during COVID, because they're within Australia, they're obviously open for business in most locations. So I'm really proud to get that client, because if I didn't put myself out there and start this process, I wouldn't have those kinds of clients. I'm proud of myself for it's hard work. Like it's being consistent and pushing yourself and stepping outside your comfort zone is definitely hard work. And there's been some huge challenging moments. And I don't think online is an overnight success. It's turning up consistently and doing the work over time. You know, they say the sales cycle is about 3 months from introduction to point of contact. And in those first 3 months, I was like, this is a big commitment. I'm spending so much time and effort. I didn't have a VA. I'm like, you're waiting for kids in cars whilst I'm sending connections and messages and my numbers done for the day. And because it was a huge commitment for us. And I was not going to let my family down by spending that money on our business and saying I'm going to do something and not turn up and do it. So for the first 3 months, when I wasn't quite getting exactly my return on my investment, it was stressful because I was outside my comfort zone. I wasn't seeing it. You know, like sometimes if you don't see that instant reward, it's like, what am I doing wrong? How, you know, this isn't working.
No one's talking to me. There's no engagement.
Yeah. So I think that's something I'm really proud of, is doing the work, but remaining consistent even in the tough times.
And that, actually, it's interesting. Like, and this is actually a Google statistic. Google has actually put out and said there's now 22 touch points in the purchase pathway. There used to be 7, but because of social media and everything online, it's now 22. And trying to get people to understand that just because you put a post up on social media doesn't mean that everyone's going to go, oh, you're amazing, I need to work with you. It does take time. So, I mean, that's fantastic that you've actually clarified it down to, okay, it's going to take 3 months. And you didn't quit.
No, didn't quit. No, had too much invested not to quit. But
okay.
So, and too much to lose. Like I treat sort of business sometimes as a bit of a game, and I'm quite a competitive person. So it's like, you know, I gotta win at this game of business. Yeah. So, that's where we're at. But LinkedIn definitely was a really good platform for us to start on and then roll out.
And I mean, I know the mentors that you worked with, and they're guys that even as a marketer, I follow closely, because they've just, they've got some fantastic systems, and they did the same thing. They started out as a digital agency, but really honed in and decided that this was one platform that they were going to master, and that's what they've done.
They actually tried to fail at doing it, tried to prove that it doesn't work, and then it did work for them. They're like,
yeah, that's true.
That kind of backfired on us. So I think it's powerful. Like when you start searching for the people you need to talk to on LinkedIn, and connecting and talking to their language. I think the other thing is important is having a niche, not talking generics. It's actually being specific, especially on LinkedIn. So I'm very specific. We have 2 profiles, Marty and I. They both trace different market. Unfortunately, mine will come back. Mine's tourism and events. Which is quite. So
caravanning is good when people can't leave their state.
Caravanning is good, yes. But this isn't going to go on forever. And these, you know, a lot of businesses will bounce back. And the fact that I have not stopped going out to them. I haven't asked for work. I've changed my messages. I'm trying to be there in a supportive environment now. Like, and is there anything I can do to help you through this as a point of contact, a conversation, you know, and giving them ideas on how we are helping some businesses who are still operational during these times, that it will come back tenfold. So I could have chosen to shut down that profile or change it, but I'm not quite sure of my figures at the moment, but I would have probably 4,000 or 5,000 connections on that LinkedIn profile. So why would I lose all that work or refocus when I think that they're coming back? Events are starting already. We're starting to see it roll through in our business for planning for 2021. So if I'd chosen to stop, I think it would have been detrimental, you know, like, yes, I'm not getting a huge amount of business out of it at the moment, but it was definitely something that will come back. So, and they need support. So, yeah, and Marty's profile. Yeah. So,
Marty's
profile is like allied health, healthcare, dentists, orthodontists, hospitals, all that side of things. So, really,
and they're still picking up.
Yeah, they're quite busy. So, and obviously we print for everybody, and it was a real mindset change to actually go be pushed to niche down. I'm like, no, you're narrowing my market, you know, like, why would I do that? But if you're a generalist, you're not talking to the right people and not using the right language. And even though they print similar things, they do different things that are specific. And when they feel like they're dealing with an expert or a professional or specialist in that field, they feel like they're talking to the right people. So on my Facebook,
you've actually just covered marketing 101, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you talked about sort of finding mentors, and that's there's been a common theme all the way through, is people saying when they first start out, they don't know who to trust or who to give their money to, because everybody's trying to sell you something. What made you decide to go with, Andrew McWhirter and Rani?
Relationship.
What was it about them?
It's their relationship. I have known them for quite a few years. Like Andrew actually was a business coach of ours probably 10 years ago.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So, and it comes back to relationships. And it comes back to that I know that they would hold me accountable and not put up with excuses or reasons why I couldn't. They would push me past that point of being uncomfortable. And at times there were tears, but they held me accountable. So, and our business is better for it and will be better for it. So, and then during, COVID, obviously, like a lot of businesses, we sort of hit panic stations when a lot of our customers started closing down around us. And I had about a week there where I decided, I was like feeling a bit sorry for myself. And then I'm like, no, you need to dust yourself off and pick yourself up. So that's when we sort of started looking at, whilst I've been posting on Facebook and Instagram and doing that, but just trying to do it with more purpose and within groups and being more active out there. So, yeah.
Start building more relationships.
Yeah. And I've got a powerful, supportive clientele base and business networking base who tag me away in so many things. It's like, almost gets a little embarrassing on some of the pages now where it's like, oh, we need a printer. And I was like, GC Print, speak to Bek at GC Print. I had a new client say the other day, oh, you came very highly recommended. Yeah. So
you're right. It's consistency. It's consistently showing up and being there. Yeah. Obviously in the back end as well, you guys do a phenomenal job. And like you said, I've followed you from my corporate role to now. Yeah. And there's and you're still working with them.
Yes.
Which which is, you know, so I mean, that's a testament in itself.
Yeah.
But for somebody that has a bricks and mortar business that looks at all of this and says, you know what, it's too hard, you know.
And interestingly enough, we don't sell online. We don't, our website has no sales page whatsoever. So it's not like people can click through and order from us.
Yeah.
So it's,
and I think that's an important thing for a lot of people to realize too, is just because you've got an offline business, if you do things the right way, you can use it to keep growing.
Yeah.
Growing your business offline.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So it's been, it's hard work, and it's against, you know, sometimes it's uncomfortable, but it's being consistent and showing up. And it's like turning up to work every day. You need to turn up online every day. So
yeah. So what would you say, with everything that you've done in the last couple of years, what would digital success mean to you?
I think it's, for us, the original purpose was generating obviously new leads, because we just weren't getting that business in the door. So as in new inquiries, unless it was word of mouth or referral. So for me, it was turning that from what was completely off and leaving our hands in the destiny of, like just not taking action, you know, not positive action to grow our business. So I think for us, digital success is being able to be in front of more people, help more people with their print marketing, and help them be recognised and remembered, because I think it's about serving others rather than really us. Yeah,
that is so true. So for someone that was starting out, that, you know, has a business and said, okay, all right, so I've listened to Bek, I really do need to get my act together. What are 2 or 3 tips that you would give to someone starting out if they wanted to start dipping their toe into the online space?
Okay. So I think for me, I would recommend knowing who your customer is and where they hang out. So for us, I've mentioned LinkedIn a fair amount of times. Our clients, or the people that are decision makers or look after that, hang out in LinkedIn. So whilst we still have Facebook and everything, and that's chugging away and it's creating new relationships and new business, for us, the bigger business, the more powerful business is sitting in LinkedIn. But it's knowing that, like knowing where they come from, what demographic they're from, where they're located, how they purchase, what, you know, like in Facebook and all these platforms, LinkedIn's very archaic, so it's not as user friendly. You can't get stats out of it. It's a lot more, it doesn't work like that. Where Facebook, you can find out more demographic and all those sorts of things. And knowing how to solve their problem of your client, I think is key to knowing what to do. And then I think it's important to have mentors around you. And that was the one thing when we came through COVID that I would say I chose specifically to do, was to surround myself around like-minded people who were positive, because it was very easy to find negative people who drain you and bring you down. So they say you are the company of like the 5 people you surround yourself with, or, you know, so surround yourself with people who are going places, who are positive, who are taking action, and feed off them. And don't be scared to ask for advice. Like, I think I coupled that with networking as well. So around the same time, I pushed myself to join a networking group and established relationships in there, and that also helped our business. So it's like doing it all, it all comes back to building relationships. And you've still got to do it online. You can't just not have that online, especially I think where, you know, like you're not purchasing just a specific item from us. You can't do that online. So it's got to deal with it.
They have to talk to you.
Yeah. So there's no point putting it off.
That's perfect. So if somebody wanted to connect with you and reach out to you, so you've mentioned LinkedIn, You've got your LinkedIn profile, and you're on Facebook.
Facebook, yeah. We're on Instagram, and yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. So you've got a website.
Yes, we do have a website. Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay. And that's GC Print Australia, or?
So it's www.gcprint.com.au.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great, and it's so good talking to a business owner that gets marketing. It's like, because Anna, like you said, the biggest thing was niching down, and it's one of the hardest things for business owners to realize is just because you pick a niche doesn't mean that you're only talking to that one, that one or two people.
Yeah, that's a real hard one. You feel like initially, I think you feel like you are definitely wiping out everybody else, and that's not. It's just making sure that, and I think you can have a couple of niches. I don't think one niche is entirely healthy at times, especially, I use today's environment as an example. If I just niche down to tourism and events, I think we'd be in a bit of a different situation. And we service every industry, we have lots. But niching down and talking their language and speaking to the right people and making posts that show them what we do in that area and go, oh, they do that. Oh, yeah, they've done that event. Or, they feel like they can trust you straight away because you're the so-called expert in it. So, yeah. But it is
so true.
It's making a bit of a list of, and putting it on paper and working out what job titles they have, those people, and
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been wonderful. And I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thanks, Leanne.
So I hope you got some really good nuggets out of that. As you can see, showing up online, it doesn't mean that you have to only have your business online. It's just such a great platform, even when you do have a bricks and mortar business. And I'm pretty sure after the interview today, you've got some really good ideas on how to show up and how to promote your business a little bit better. And as always, reach out to Bek and have a chat, because it's running a business online or offline, it's not easy. And it's always good to have other people that you can chat to that are on the same journey and on the same pathway that you are. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we will catch you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me on the Digital Success Hot Seat, where we interview incredible experts about their online journey, their challenges, their tips, what's worked for them, and what hasn't. So if you're really enjoying this series, I'd love it if you would just hit the subscribe button below, and also hit the bell, so that way you get notified every single time we upload a new interview. I really appreciate you joining us, and let's get on with it.